What's up, guys? So welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. Now I know that it's been a while since I posted a video on this channel, but today I decided to pull up a surprise on you guys, right? So what we'll be doing today is I'm going to be showing you how my typical trading day looks like, okay? And then for those of you who always think that I am always winning and I never lose, today you're going to see what happens behind the screen, right? Then for those who also be able to stay to the end of this video, what I'll do is I'm going to be breaking down all of these trades. These are the trades that I took today, 30th August, Wednesday, right? I'm going to be breaking them down to show you how I caught all of these trades, right? And then hopefully you can learn something out of it, and then you can also add it to your trading arsenal, right? So real quick, before we step onto the charts, you know what to do already. If you are not subscribed to this channel, please hit that subscribe button and make sure you also turn on post notifications. Leave a like on this video, also leave a comment on this video. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's step onto the chart and let's see what we have for today. All right, welcome back to the chat, guys. So yes, to those of you who have always been asking yourselves that this guy he's winning, does he take losses at all? The truth is I take losses, okay? I take losses just like any other trader. There are days that I take massive losses. I don't talk about it, right? But there are days that you also see me do something like this, okay? So there are days price will treat you like this, like what you're seeing over here, okay? So this particular day, I think it was Monday, just 3 days ago, what happened is, if you watch closely, you realize that I took this first loss over here, I took this second loss over here, then my first win came, which was like a quick 1:5. Then I took this trade as well, right? This trade, believe me, I took this trade out of FOMO, right? I was afraid I was going to miss out on the trade, and it was very simple. Actually, with regards to my system, I was aware that price will cause an inducement over here, okay, but I was anticipating a big fall, like a big drop, okay, so I didn't want to miss out on it at all. So what I did was I actually set my limit. If you can see, I took my entry from M5. You can see there's a red line running through there, right? And also because I knew that there was going to be an inducement, instead of putting my stop loss like very tight, I rather decided to make it like 5 pips so that price will not take me out in case of any inducement. And if you can see closely, you realize that even though price induced these highs from London open, but it didn't take me out because my stop loss was big enough. That was like 5 pips stop loss. But unfortunately for me, price gave me that beautiful reaction, okay, and then took me out nicely. It took me out on a loss, okay. I hardly moved to break evens because I have my break even protocols, right? I have a video talking about how I break even on the chart. So I always need to see certain things before I can break even, and in here I didn't see that, so I didn't break even yet. I didn't even take partials, okay. So you realize that this particular day, that Monday, I took about 1 2 3 losses and only 1 win. So at the end of the day, what happens is I'm going home with just like 2% or something like that, okay. And there are days that you're gonna have something like this, days that you're gonna have massive price movement, like great risk to reward ratios, like this particular Tuesday. So on that particular Tuesday, that was yesterday, I took this guy nicely. I also took this guy nicely. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you may have seen this, right? This one, I didn't take it anyway, but it is a trade that fits my entry, sorry, that fits my system, right? If you've been following me for a while now, you know what I'm talking about, okay. You see me put a red line over here, and yeah, I'll just grab that trade. So there are days that you're going to see this big movement, 1:20, 1:11, 1:15 and beyond, right? So that is also that. And then there are days like this, days like today, okay. So today you can see I was just doing quick 5 hours, so first trade was a 5 hour, second trade was a 5 hour, third trade was a 6, fourth trade was a 5 hour, and then this one over here which made a loss, and then this one was a 4 hour, Okay, so in total I took 1 2 3 4 5 and then a sixth trade, right, on euro USD alone. Euro USD alone. Okay, so real quick, let me show you how I came by this wonderful trees that you see on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to switch to a new chart and do the breakdown for you guys. So anytime I come onto my chart early in the morning, right, what I do is sometimes even before I go to bed, I had already marked up my charts. So when I wake up the next morning, I know the areas that I'm looking for. That is what I do, okay? Because it gives me that room to like fully analyze, like without pressure. So when I wake up, I sleep a lot, okay? I sleep a lot. So I mostly wake up very late, right? So if I wake up, let's say around 6 o'clock, and I know that I have to start trading around 6:37, I will analyze with a lot of rush, and I'm going to miss out on certain delicate information that might help me to make good informed trading decisions, right? So that is why sometimes I analyze in the night before I go to bed, right? So in here, this is what happened. Let me start from the higher time frame so that you guys see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to start from like H4. Now the reason why I'm starting from H4 is I mostly refer to H4 as my intraday higher time frame. Okay, I am more of like an intraday trader, so I mostly refer to that. So this is what I saw. First off, you all can see that we have this low over here, this beautiful low over here, which created this high, right? Then price did something over here that led to a lot of confusion, right? If you don't know what is happening, you can get lost, right? So what happens is I just ignored everything happening here and I just begin to focus on what price is doing over here. Why? It is simply because I am very much aware that we have some certain levels of daily demand zones in here, daily points of interest right in here, and we have come close, right? So I just want to see what price will do, right? So in here, what happens is I can see price doing something like this: a high, first a high, a low, a high, a low, a high, I have a low, I have a high. So this was my last high before this price action came in. Okay, this is today's price action. So before these guys were printed today, this was like my last point that I was looking at. Right now, if you're asking yourself, how did you mark this high, how did you mark this low, how did you mark this high, why didn't you choose this low and you went to choose this low? I mean, this is something that I cannot spill right in here. Okay, they are stuff that I cover in my program. Okay, so real quick, after I have seen all of these things, okay, what I do is I now look for my immediate high and low, right, or my immediate low and high. So in this case, we can first of all tell that we are in a downtrend, okay, like a retracement phase. Overall higher time frame we are bullish, but in here on the internal structure, or within the internal structure, we are bearish, right? Which means that that bigger time frame leg is what is retracing. Okay, so like I said, this was my last high right in here like this. Okay, right in there like that, and then this was my low. So everything happening in here is not my issue like that. Okay, even though I know that there are certain levels of supply like right in here, like point of interest and all those stuff, but they were not my concern like that. For now, they are not like my utmost concern. What I have to do is I have to focus on what price is presenting to me currently and work on that. Okay, so yeah, why it is high? Very simple. If you check in here, you realize that price took out this low, we took out this guy, and then we took out this guy. Can you see that? So we have this beautiful like a kind of inducement that pushed to the downside. Okay, so once I've identified this high which created this low, now all what I will do is I'll step onto lower time frames to now see what price is doing. So real quick, I step onto my intraday. Trust me, the process that I used to trade is very simple. Very simple. Okay, not complicated. You always need to keep it super simple. Okay, so right in here, I want you to see something. This is the high. I see a beautiful low created right in here. This low is valid. Yes, I am very much aware. It is very valid. At the end of the day, I'm just doing this high, this high, and then this low. Now, again, to those of you who are asking me, why is he choosing this high, this low, and not this low? I want you to pay attention to something. Watch the size of this leg. watch the size of this leg. There is something in common over there. Okay, this is just a free stuff that I'm giving out. So once I know that I have this guy, I knew that this was my last point of what intraday structure. So what happened? Price took it out nicely. Now once price took it out, okay, I know that if price takes out a structural point, now every structural point that you see, whether a high or low, is liquidity. Just put it in your head like that. Every high or low that you see on the market is liquidity. As simple as that. It's just that we have different types of liquidity, and you should know what that particular high or low is, right? The kind of liquidity that it is. Okay, so right in here we have taken out this high, which means that intraday has changed intent. Okay, if you can see, we're making lower highs and lower lows like this, and then now we switched. So the intraday is telling us that we are now what, we are now bullish. So right in here, what are we going to do? We are now going to look for areas where we think that price can what, can react. Okay, so before I slept, right, I started marking all of these areas down. So the first one was, if you look at this move to the top, right, this whole move started from this guy over here. Okay, so it means that there's supposed to be a point of interest over there. So I marked this guy nicely over here. Okay, for those of you who think that this POI is not valid because it has been mitigated or whatsoever, I don't have any problem with you guys. But to me, this is not a true mitigation. Okay, if you are one of my students, if you follow me closely, you will know what I'm talking about. So this is not a true mitigation. Whatever happened here is not a true mitigation, right? However, this POI also, there is something wrong with it. If you pay attention, you're going to realize that we had equal lows sitting there. So instead of marking this as a valid point of interest, I rather marked it as a smart money trap. Okay, and then my next point of interest was this guy over here. Okay, it was this guy over here. So boom, again, there are some people who are going to ask me, why didn't you mark this candle and you mark this guy? It is also another topic on its own. Okay, so this was another POI that I was looking at, and then the last one was right in here. Okay, nicely, right? That was my last POI. Why? It was simply because if I look at internal structure within this leg, you're going to realize that price was doing something like this: high, low, high. So this POI was with respect to internal structure. So I was waiting for price to first of all give me the story and then move to the top. Okay, so this was the story that I had before I went to bed. First is, when I wake up the next morning, I'm just going to look for a retracement into this leg. Okay, sorry, into this point of interest over here, or even this one. But once these two gets broken, this one is not going to hold. Why? Because we have liquidity system below. That was my thought process. Okay, so waking up in the morning, the first thing is I'm looking for what? A counter trend trade, an opportunity to join in the sell. That was my thought process. Join in the sell, right? So real quick, this is what I did. I come in here and I begin to apply my advanced liquidity concept. That is when I begin to apply like a this Asian session and those stuff. Okay, so I have one of these variants that I use. Let me just touch on it real quick. So in here, what can you see over here? We can see a beautiful imbalance in here. So I was expecting a reaction from this imbalance, but what happens is this imbalance got filled nicely. Then it went to somewhere. If you pay attention, you're going to see this guys over here. This is something that I call hidden point of interest. Okay, so I was interested in this guy. Okay, and in relation to timing, if you pay attention, always what I'm doing is I'm using market structure, I'm using point of interest, I'm using liquidity, and I'm also using timing. These are the four elements that I use, as simple as that. So once I know that this guy is supposed to give me a reaction, but then it got failed nicely. If you can see, it's right at the middle of Asia, so it got failed nicely. Tap into a hidden point of interest. If I go to like lower time frames, you are going to realize that there is these kind of more indecision candles. I call them indecision candles. This is like doji candles and all those stuff. Maybe 10 minutes. Let me see what is there. You can see the same thing. Okay, some people call this inside bars or whatsoever. So this guy is a very important candle. Okay, so once I have this real quick, immediately price comes in there, I'm just looking for my sales. That's all. Okay, because I know the kind of variant that I'm looking for. So in here, look at this. when price taps into this POI, right, if you know what you're looking for, most people, they are going to wait for, can you see this beautiful break of structure to the top, beautiful break of structure to the downside, which means they'll be expecting price to come up into these zones in there, then they can sell, right? For those of you who are going to miss out on this first entry, you can also use this one. I've covered this entry in one of my YouTube videos. I call it a follow through break of structure. You can also take this one. But if you watch my entry closely, you realize that I didn't take my entry here nor here. Okay, my entry was earlier, and this was because I employed one of my advanced entry techniques, which I'm not going to share with you guys because that is my private property. It's meant for just me and my private students. Okay, but then you can go and back test and find out. My entry came off right in here, and my stop loss was like 3, I think. Yeah, 3 pips, and then my target was 5R real quick. Okay, 5R real quick. Today I decided to discipline myself and just take 5 hours. So this was my first trade. Nicely. Okay, now right after this, okay, there are some people who are also going to be looking at market structure differently. Let me show you what they will be doing. So they're looking at price, let's say this high taking out, or even this one taking out. Can you see that? And then they're going to say that, oh, price has taken out what? Asian low. So they call this one the inducement. Okay, and they're going to mark this beautiful point of interest, this one. Okay, beautiful. Okay, like this. And look at what price did in there. I want to show you. Look at what price did in there. So in here, what can we see? Price is coming down low, high, low, high, low, high, low. So you're gonna see that, oh, price has broken structure to the top. Okay, we have a beautiful confirmation even here. We have a beautiful confirmation. So they're looking for it to what? To buy from here nicely. Then look at what happened to them. Price just comes in, takes them out. Boom. Even those who had their limit set on this guy over here, like this, nicely, you also got taken out, and it's simply because of timing. Okay, so whatever happened here was London open inducement, and what happens is we don't rush. Okay, we don't rush with it. What happens is we wait for the inducement to happen, then we take the trade. So right in here, I waited for the inducement to happen. Honestly speaking, I never took this buy. I never took this one. Okay, I was not part of the SMC traders who were induced, so I waited for it to happen. Then right after that, on a normal day, my entry is supposed to come after this one, but I was late, so I waited for an extra confirmation, which gave me this entry right in here. Boom, like this. And my stop loss went below this, I think, for like a 4.5 or something. Yeah, it was 4.5, and I did another extra 5 real quick. So this was my second trade. Okay, this was my second trade. Now, why was I taking the buy to the top? I want you to now look at this. Now, you remember that I said that there are some people who have seen this break of structure, and so they were looking for buys from here. Now you can see that price has gone below this low with a body. Okay, so they can see this one also as a what? As a break of structure, which means they are now going to mark this point of interest over here, and they're looking for sales. Okay, but I am very much aware that with respect to timing, all of those people who are looking for sales in this area, they are going to be smashed, right? With respect to timing, they are going to be smashed. So this, I told my students that, look, don't mind the fact that people will be looking for sales from here. There are some people who will actually be doing that, but don't mind. Because of timing and because of the fact that people are looking for sales from here, this guy is going to act as a catalyst to even make our TP hit faster. Okay, and the truth is, I actually was looking for it to target. There was a particular point of interest that I marked. This one, right in here. Okay, there was a POI right in here. I think it would be best if I mark it from like M15 so that you guys can see the accuracy. So yeah, that was my guy. This guy. Boom. Oh, this guy. Boom. Why did I mark this POI? Because we broke structure. Good. Okay, we broke structure over here, so I was expecting price to come in here and then see what price will give me, then I can take the sell back down. Okay, so my actual TP was supposed to be here, but I decided to cut it at what? 5R. I was doing just 5 hours. Okay, so that was my second entry real quick. Now you remember that I said I was waiting for price to come into this PUI and give me another entry confirmation for sales. But unfortunately, what happened was price never gave any entry confirmation. If you can see, price was just making like something like highs and lows, okay, higher highs like that, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. There was nowhere that price broke like something like this. Price did something like this. There was nowhere. If you can see anything like that, you can point it out to me. But there was nothing like that over here until price took out this high. Okay, so we took it out nicely, and yes, it is one of my setup as well. This high is a high from yesterday. That was the previous day's high. So why not? Once we take it out, I can start looking for trades. And again, I had that beautiful advanced entry confirmation over there nicely. So you see me put it there, magic entry. Okay, it is not witchcraft, it is perfect. Okay, it's just a simple system. That one also, my entry was right in here. My stop loss was like 2.5 nicely. Okay, 2.5 nicely. And then this one, truth be told, I was looking for 1:8. Okay, quick 1:8. Then all of a sudden I started paying attention to what price action was doing. Now I want you to watch this. You will see how this whole thing works. You see that in here we took out this high over here, boom. Okay, then those of you who think that it's just guesswork, I want you to watch this again. Look at this low to when this high got taken out. Even though price made a little retracement, it doesn't matter. There are days that price will make deeper retracement. It is fine. There are days that price will just make shallow retracement and still push. Now I want you to watch this low to this high. Compare the sizes and see what is happening in there. You understand? So once I saw this, I was like, this guy is not going to break. Why? I didn't see anything like equal lows sitting here. You understand? So I knew he wasn't going to break. So what happened was, real quick, I just marked this POI. This tiny guy over there. Boom. You see how price respected it? It never broke, right? It just respected it. But I didn't take the buy anyway. So I had this guy in here nicely. I went off at 6. Anyway, 6. It was here. Quick 6. Okay. And I just went out because I knew that this guy wasn't going to give an opportunity to drop. It didn't have any equal low sitting there. So again, that was my third trade nicely. Okay, for those of you who are also thinking that, oh, maybe when I took this guy I got taken out in here with break even or whatsoever, no, 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 no. I have my break even protocols. Okay, so if I take a trade, for instance, if I take a trade here, I don't break even until I've seen price do this. If I see price do this, 1, 2, 3, this is when I break even. So when price takes this one out and takes this one out, this is when I now move to break even. So that was my third trade. Then my fourth trade, very crazy stuff. My fourth trade was very, very simple. That one, I was just looking at what price was doing. I was like, I have a PUI up there. I think let me step onto M15 and let me mark that PUI. I should have done all of those markings before coming to do all of these things. So there was a PUI, there was another PUI right in here. It was like this. Okay, remember that was the last point that made the low. So there was this POY over there. So real quick, back to M1, let's see. So in here I knew that I couldn't get in on this buy, right? Even if I had seen it earlier, I wouldn't have taken it because I wasn't so confident in it. This tiny guy over here, I wasn't so confident. Even if I'll take it, it's going to be like, I'm going to give it like a, how do you call it, maybe 2 pips or whatsoever. Okay, oh, why I keep choosing this one? I'm gonna give it like 2 pips like this, and I'm not even going to enter on that tiny guy. I'll enter on this high, so it will be like something like this. My entry will be here, and then my stop loss is going to come down like this for like maybe 3.5. But like I said, I didn't take it, so that's not part. My fourth trade, like I said, very, very simple. What do you see? We've broken structure, so price did this 1, 2, 3. Once I get this 1, 2, 3, as simple as that, I just enter the trade. Okay, so that was my entry. Boom. Okay, stop loss goes below for like 4.5. I think I did 4.5, and then target is 5. Quick, real quick. I think I did 4 pip stop loss. I think so. Yeah, 4 pip stop loss. Yeah, and then my target was 5 right in here. Boom. Simple. That was my fourth trade. Okay, and then my fifth trade. How did I get my fifth trade? Now price has come into the PUI nicely. Okay, we tapped inside the PUI nicely, and then this is what I saw. I want you guys to see how crazy I am when it comes to like taking entries. Okay, ideally I am very much aware that this is a low that should be taken out before I can consider an entry like this, but this one I went in very early. How was my entry? My entry was like this. The moment I saw this guy, you see this low, this high, sorry, taking out, we see this one taking out, boom, then my entry comes in right in there. So my entry was there nicely. My stop loss was there. I think it was like a 2.5 or 3. Yeah, it was 3 nicely like this, and I was looking for it to tank to the downside. This is FXCM on forex.com. You realize that it get tagged in nicely, so that was my next entry, and I was looking for another quick 1:5 quick. Okay, so that was it. And then what happened was price just moved and then came to take me out nicely. So that was my first L for that day, for today. Then my next entry, which was my last entry, okay, that was my last entry. This guy was in confluence with a higher time frame PUI. So if I come to like 4 hour, you're gonna see this. I had this guy over here, this whole area here marked, this guy here nicely marked. This is how it looked like. It looked like nicely, okay, marked. So back to M1, you realize that we were in that guy. So even this trade, trust me, I was outside. I wasn't by my screens. I was just doing everything from my phone. Then that one, what I saw was this one. I saw this guy taking out and this guy taking out. Okay, then I just jumped in. Nicely with this sell over here. My sell came up from there. Stop loss was like 5.5, I think so. Yeah, 5.5. And then just look at what structure is doing, okay, before you make any informed decisions. Just look at what market structure is doing. So if you've not even seen anything, look at this. In here we broke this low where price wanted to make that sell to the downside, and then it failed. So it should tell you that this guy, there is something in there. Okay, so put a line right there nicely, because if you go down we need to break this low. If you don't break this low, you're never going down. So this one, boom, price just did something like this. Okay, and because I knew that, oh, this is like 4 point something, I just did 4, just a quick 4. Okay, so that was my last trade for the day. Okay, so you can see, very simple stuff. So basically these are all the trades that I took today, and as you can see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 trades, right, with 1 loss, right? So 5 wins and 1 loss, each averaging like 1:5, right? So yeah, these are all the trades that I took today. I believe that you found value in this content that I shared with you. If you did, please leave a like and also leave a comment on this video. Okay, so see you later in another educative video.